Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. My name is 12 Gauge. Thank you for being here. My channel is called 12 Gauge Investigative. I am your host, 12 Gauge. Anyways, this morning I thought I'd get on here and I'd talk a little bit about a case that seems to be heating up. It is the Texas mom's mysterious disappearance. And I will play a video that'll give you a little bit more insight on this case. But I wanna speak with you about some things that um sometimes as creators we take for granted. One of those things is that, you know, um there's a time delay whenever we start the video. At least I've noticed it. There's a time delay from the moment the music starts to the moment that I get anybody in chat. So sometimes you guys will be saying hello or you'll be chatting and I won't see it right away because of the time delay. So there's a reason why the music is sometimes long. There's a reason why sometimes I wait for a little bit for people to get in here because I want to make sure that everybody comes in without, interruption of the music playing or something like that. So I hope that you understand that. And I hope that you're having a wonderful weekend. Let me go ahead and get this video playing so that you can get some insight on what I'm going to talk about.
This mom who disappeared 3 weeks ago. We've previously reported on the case of 51-year-old Suzanne Simpson, who was last seen on the morning of October 7th by her neighbor. The last known photo of her before she went missing shows a Texas realtor in a dark-colored dress and heels. The case would take another turn when Suzanne's husband Brad was arrested and charged with assault causing bodily injury, family violence, as well as unlawful restraint. According to police, a neighbor witnessed the couple physically fighting, and Brad allegedly grabbed his wife by her upper torso area to gain control of her body. That same neighbor later heard screaming coming from a nearby wooded area by the Simpsons' home. Then Brad got into his pickup truck and left their home only to return about an hour or two later. Loved ones began to notice something was off because the following day, the couple's child's school called Brad to tell them their child hadn't been picked up, which is something Suzanne normally did. Then the following day, after police interviewed staffers at the school where one of their children attends, the 5-year-old child reportedly told staff her parents were fighting and that her dad assaulted her mom and took her phone away. The child.
So once again, a mom was scheduled to pick up their child. She didn't pick him up. And then all of a sudden, red flags started to rise. So think about that a little bit. How many cases have we seen where the parent was supposed to pick up the child? They went to pick him up, or the child never made it home. And then that started the investigation. So there was some domestic issues in this case.
Also said Suzanne had a bruise on her elbow. But then another twist in the case. Brad's business associate was arrested this week accused of tampering with evidence. According to court documents, Brad allegedly texted his business partner, James Valley Cotter, a day after his wife disappeared, asking him to hide an AK-47. Brad allegedly texted Cotter saying, quote, "If you're in Bandera, can you haul to meet me at your house? I don't have much time." Then another text allegedly sent by Brad said, "Sorry for the urgency, but you're all I got, especially now. Social media is destroying me."
So let me ask you guys in chat. There's not very many of you that I can see. There's like two of you. Do you believe at this point, if you were the police officer and you were investigating this crime, the very little bit of probable cause to arrest this individual would have been the fact that they were arguing? He was the last person seen. He lawyered up. He didn't want to answer any questions. Um, they found an AK-47, the text messages, these certain things. Do you think that he would be culpable for this crime?
To police Cotter agreed to hide the weapon at his San Antonio home, but not in a gun safe, instead in the wall of his home. ATF searched Cotter's home this week, and the K9 team helps locate where exactly the AK-47 was, and it was retrieved out of a void in the wall. The gun reportedly was captured on video provided by someone working with the investigation, showing the same gun in a vault in the Simpsons' house. Brad Simpson, in turn, now faces an additional state charge of prohibited weapons and tampering/fabricating evidence after the discovery of the AK-47. The father of four also faces a federal gun charge after he was found to be illegally in possession of a short-barreled rifle. Cotter was arrested Monday for allegedly hiding the gun and is also accused of tampering with evidence and not being truthful with law enforcement. But at this time, neither men have officially been charged in connection to the disappearance of Suzanne Simpson. Now, 3 weeks after she vanished without a trace, her family is holding on to hope for more answers. And while the search for Suzanne Simpson continues, let's bring on former FBI and CIA agent Tracy Walder to break down this case even further. Tracy, it's so great to see you. Suzanne Simpson has been missing for 3 weeks now. What's your reaction, and where does the search go from here?
Well, thank you so much for having me, Elizabeth. It's really difficult because the husband is being uncooperative. In this case, he's refusing to show up for interviews, and where it's going to go from
You're right, Heather. Good morning. She is kind of trippy looking, right? But the father not cooperating. I mean, even if you thought you were a suspect, would you still not want to try to find your wife or the mother of your children? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Like sometimes these guys, they just lawyer up and they act like, you're not going to get me. You're not going to pin this on me. But obviously, if you were innocent, wouldn't you want to cooperate and be like, you know what? You're not going to get me for this. I'm going to help any way I can with this investigation. And it just baffles me how instantly sometimes they just lawyer up or they just don't want to talk, and then later on you find out they were guilty. But also at the same time, kind of like Chris Watts, he was speaking to the media at first, and he was talking to the police as well. And if y'all aren't versed on that crime, you might look it up. But he did the total opposite, and he was guilty. So you just never know. According to the court findings, he was guilty. So you never know if somebody is truly innocent or guilty of committing the crime or being or having enough evidence to at least arrest them. So what? Excuse me. So once again, why would that gun be in the wall? Why wouldn't it be in a gun safe? Can y'all answer me that? Puzzle me that, guys. I've yet to have my coffee, but I'm kind of hyper for some reason. Um, Puzzle me that. Why was it in the wall? Why wasn't it in the gun safe? Why did they retrieve it out of the wall when the police went to go look for it? Okay. Well, that's video number 1 that I have set up for you guys. What do y'all think on this? You think is there anybody in here? It shows 4 people, but I don't know if there's actually 4 people in here. What do you think about this situation? I mean, the husband being uncooperative, they found the gun, or they were searching for the gun in the wall. She disappeared. They had an argument. He was arrested for the domestic issue because of the situation out front of their house. But as far as the disappearance of his wife, he hasn't said anything. So it's always a good thing to keep searching. Let me play one more video, and then I'm gonna do another stream on this later on, because I'm gonna change out the computers. I really don't like how this computer is working. It really saddens me that I thought, this computer was going to be better than what I had, and obviously it isn't. So it's cool. I'm still going to use it on the road when I go live on the road and stuff. It's it's fast enough for that, but for some reason it's not really fast enough here. I guess because of for some reason the internet capability is not 100% for some reason, and I can't tell if I'm getting booted. Like every time I switch tabs, it like reload the page. So I don't know if I'm getting booted. If y'all can see this, if there's anybody in here listening. If not, then if you watch this on replay.
Police say the mother of 4 was last seen outside her home late Sunday night, fighting with her 53-year-old husband, Brad. A neighbor says later he heard screams in the woods nearby.
They said that he had been arrested the day before.
That report coming in from KSAT in San Antonio, Texas, where Brad Simpson has now been arrested on multiple charges of violent assault causing bodily injury and unlawful restraint. This after neighbors heard suspicious sounds coming from their home the night before he reported his own wife, Suzanne, missing. The search for Suzanne continues, and friends and relatives and neighbors held a prayer vigil for her. Reporter John Paul Barajas with KSAT has the story.
Family, friends, and strangers gathered to pray for Suzanne Clark Simpson. She was last seen last Sunday. At this time, for loved ones, leaning on their faith seems like the only thing they can do.
I just don't understand. I don't understand why it happened. It wasn't part of their life.
Suzanne's mom, Barbara Clark, says she spoke to her daughter 1 hour before she was last seen.
She called me up and told me the things that Brad had done to her physically. Well, I came up with an alternative plan for her in the hope that she'd move in with me. I never got to tell her the plan.
Clark explained Suzanne told her husband Brad had hurt her arm and back around 9 p.m. According to an arrest affidavit, around 10 or 11 p.m., a neighbor then saw the Simpsons fighting outside their almost park home and later heard screams from the wooded area nearby.
Do you think that Brad's responsible for her disappearance?
Angela, thank you.
I agree with that. I would like to visit with him, and it happened.
Clark adds the family's doing the best they can, but she is worried about Suzanne's 4 children.
That's hard to know exactly how they're doing.
And even as everyone tries to remain positive, Clark fears her daughter is no longer alive.
I don't think she is, because I have not heard from her.
Is there anything you say to Suzanne right now if she could hear you?
Suzanne, we love you. We need you. And we pray for you.
All right, thanks to KSAT for that report. Think Tank's still with us. Al Wunsch III, Darnell Crosland, and Jennifer Brandt. Jennifer, he's not yet charged with murder. He's charged with unlawful restraint because of what those neighbors overheard of injury that causes bodily injury or assault that causes bodily injury. Do you think that there's a reason that they are waiting to charge with murder?
Maybe just to gather up some more evidence. I mean, she hasn't been found. Maybe they hope that they will find her. So I think maybe a little more time is needed just to sort of put together everything that they do have before they can level those charges against him. They want to be right. So I think it makes sense to just see if there's anything else that comes up, especially finding her. I think that is the most critical part of all of this.
Absolutely. Of course, wanting to keep hope, but Al, listening to the mother when she was asked if her son-in-law had anything to do with this, it's almost like she couldn't bring herself to say the word. She just said, I can agree with that, instead of just, yes, I think he did it. Can they move forward in terms of the prosecution if the worst happens and they don't find a body?
I think the valuable lesson that we learned on this whole thing is that if anyone lives near me and you hear screams in the woods, call the police immediately. Okay. I mean, why wouldn't have someone called the police at that instance? The neighbor had such detail as to what argument was going on and didn't think to maybe pick up the phone and call 911. Didn't think to say, I hear screams after a big fight. There might be something wrong here, folks. So neighbors of mine, please.
I mean, it's always imperative. See something, say something. You know what I mean? Even if you don't want to get involved, make it a way where you can be anonymous and you could potentially save someone's life. Especially these days, it seems like people are so volatile. They have little to no value for human life.
Make sure you call the police first and go from there. But do they have enough now? No, they don't have enough now. And I think it's a smart move to keep him on ice the way they have it, and to see what evidence they can find and what they can start doing. And hopefully they'll find her phone, and then maybe things will start to turn around a little bit.
Yeah.
But they got him on enough to keep him out of commission for a while. And I think that's a smart move.
Yeah, Darnell, he doesn't have bond. So what do you think is happening with his defense? He's no doubt either been given a lawyer. He likely has a lawyer that he's called. What's happening now from the defense side while this search continues?
Unlike Al, I disagree with the keeping people on ice. I'm a very strong component of the constitutional rights that we have. And unlawful restraint, someone has to prove up that he restrained her unlawfully, restricted her movement, etc. The neighbors hearing screamings or whatever they heard cannot prove that up. And to have him with no bond, which I've seen these in my cases, because they suspect that he has something to do with the death, is not good enough for me. I think that the most they could have proved up was a breach of peace or some type of disorderly conduct because of the sounds or whatever. Now, in terms of the murder case, I agree that they should not bring that case now. If they brought that case now, they'd have to have a judge swear on an affidavit with the judge. And based on what they have now, all they have is a person that's missing, that has history of arguing. So that affidavit wouldn't fly. And lastly, if they did take it out now, here in Connecticut, you can file a speedy trial and you have to be brought to trial within 30 days. And if you're not, then the defense files a motion for dismissal, and it must be granted unless there's some circumstance. So if they brought it now before they had evidence, the speedy time runs, and they could lose the whole case.
You notice that guy in the right-hand corner, he's looking frustrated, like, ugh, can't believe you're saying all this stuff.
And she gets no justice at that point.
Now, I want to add some facts, Darnell, to the analysis you just gave. The mother, we understand, provided police with this almost words beyond the grave, where, not the grave, I shouldn't say that, but the words from someone who is not there, and the mother believing that something has happened to her daughter. But she said on the day that her daughter went missing, or within those days surrounding it, her daughter for the first time admitted to those family and friends that there were problems in the marriage that involved physical abuse. Jennifer Brandt, we see this in these cases, but this is family and friends after the fact, after she's missing. They believe he had something to do with it. Is it enough?
I don't think it's enough for murder, no, but I think it's enough if they bring further charges against him, and ultimately if they do find her or do find a body. I think some of this is very important evidence that she was, telling family and friends that he was hurting her, that she was injured. She came up with a plan with her mother. I mean, it's so sad that she, seeing the mother there saying that she never got to have her daughter enact that plan and be able to move in with her. So certainly were things going on in this relationship. And if she told her mother, we can only imagine that maybe she told some others as well, close friends, maybe even the children. I don't know their ages, but there might have been other people that knew about this, and certainly the neighbors, for whatever it's worth, they did hear these screams. So all of this put together is definitely pointing at him. It's just a question of, what will ultimately be the charges.
This is a case in East Almost, Texas, near San Antonio. This is where the search is going. So if anyone has seen Suzanne, has information, they're of course asked to contact the authorities. Our thanks to the think tank for being with us this Monday evening. That's all the time we have for tonight, but we always appreciate your expertise, and we know we're going to see you real soon. Next, when we come back, we're going to reveal something else you need to know, plus coming up in the next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, Melody Ferris reacts to the testimony of her own children as she stands trial.
Okay, we'll go with that for now. Like I said, I'm probably going to come back and do a follow-up because, it seems like this computer is lagging, or I need to change some settings on it or something like that, because it shouldn't be lagging as much as it is. But what do you think about this case? I mean, I think that it's just going to get worse. It had and I'm not going on mainstream media. I'm going on what they've talked about as far as the evidence that they have. It just doesn't sound like, they had a fight. She ran off. And for 3 weeks now, she hasn't notified anybody. She hasn't been seen. She hasn't been heard. Nothing. So for 3 weeks, you're telling me a mother would be okay with not seeing her children, not being there for her children, not being, active in the household. You're telling me no matter what kind of fight you've ever had with your significant other, if you've ever been able to come back and reconcile it, it's probably happened, right? In my opinion. For this to be something that has taken 3 weeks and nobody really knows anything, and the husband's not saying anything, I'm not trying to be one of those conspiracy theorists, but it just sounds suspicious to me, and I hate saying that, but it doesn't sound good. What do y'all think in the chat? If this is lagging and you can't really chat, or, you're getting this late, please comment at the bottom. And like I said, I'm going to hook up my other one and do another video probably in about an hour and a half or 2 hours. And hopefully it'll be a better live stream. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. And I will see you in a little while. All right? Y'all be awesome.